meeting of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. Every Toastmasters meeting, there are three basic rules that you have to follow throughout the meeting. Number one, kindly don't unmute yourself unless and until it's your chance to speak. Number two, kindly don't prompt the speaker without the prior permission of the president. And last but not the least, number three, kindly refrain from using sex, religion, and politics in a derogatory manner. With this, let me tell you one thing. We all strive to be perfect in our lives. But in this dynamic world, it is literally possible to be perfect in anything. Because things are changing very fast and human beings take time to adjust to any change. That being said, we all are imperfect. But have you ever thought how to become an imperfect in the best perfect way possible? Sounds confusing, right? Well, that's the beauty of today's theme, imperfectly perfect. I can't wait enough to see what Toastmaster of the day has her in her bag to all of us, for all of us. With this, let me call upon someone who carries KTM spirit in her heart. She is an amazing leader and she is a passionate Toastmaster. Please put your hands together for the lady with a golden heart and a beautiful smile, the president of our club, Toastmaster Mridula Sen Gupta.
Can you please keep it going for our amazing stand-in Southern Terms Toastmaster Sumit? Let's unmute and applaud, guys. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 664th meeting of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. Now, before we move ahead, I would like to ask the members of the House if there are any changes in the minutes of the 663rd session, and if not, to be considered to be passed. Kindly show a thumbs up. Thank you. So, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and our dear guests who have joined us in this wonderful Friday evening. So today, we have a wonderful theme of the day, which will be carried forward by our amazing Toastmaster. But before that, dear members, if you had one wish, what would you wish for? Would you wish for a perfect dream, a perfect goal, or a perfect life? Or would you rather wish for imperfection? Well, my wish for you today is that you have the perfect shot to make all the imperfections right. Because as we progress in the meeting today, we will understand that the imperfection of perfection is striving for perfection. Only those who realize that we cannot have black without white, or vice versa, we cannot have light without darkness, or any other things, sickness without health, or joy without misery, we will never be able to understand the true value of perfection, because perfection and imperfection are two sides of the same coin, and they are something which complement each other pretty well. So now I would like to request the guests who have joined us today to kindly unmute yourself, kindly volunteer and unmute yourself. Guest Bishnu, would you like to introduce yourself? It's great to have you here.
Yes, ma'am. I don't feel that I am a guest here because I'm attending so many meetings, and it seems to be I'm a part of you, the Kolkata Toastmasters, and I feel very comfortable here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Bishnu, for joining us. Can we have a round of applause for him, please? Now I would like to thank you. Now I would like to request the other guests to kindly unmute yourself and share your introduction. I can see Abhishek, Kaustav, Dibyendu, Munmun, Rohit. Yes, Rohit, you have unmuted yourself. Would you like to share?
Yeah, so I hope I am audible.
Yeah, you're perfectly audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I have been attending this meeting. I think this might be fifth or sixth meeting, and most probably in few days I'll be a member of Kolkata Toast member also. And I am finding consistency also, and I'm just testing myself whether I'm consistent enough and this is just not a kind of one initiative and then I lose my interest. But I have been very interested in joining these meetings, and I hope I'll continue that. So thank you so much for providing this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Rohit. It's great to have you with us time and again, and we would look forward to having you as a part of the family soon. With that, we also have Munmun. I think you're here for the first time. Would you like to share something about yourself? Yes.
Yes, this is my first meeting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to opportunities here.
So, Munmun, what do you do, and from where did you get to know about Kolkata Toastmasters Club?
I'm a law student at Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and I'm here at Kolkata for a few months. And I got to know Google about Toastmaster.
All right. Thank you so much, Munmun. We also have Abhishek with us. Today, we do not have your friend, I believe, but it's great to have you. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi Medula, this is Abhishek Mata. I have been attending this Toastmasters meeting for last 3 weeks. So uh, just I want to take a grip of things and before becoming the full-time member.
All right. Thank you so much, Abhishek. Can we have a round of applause for all our members and guests present here? Thank you. Now, we have a very interesting theme for the evening, which is imperfectly perfect. And to carry it forward, we have somebody who is an aspiring finance consultant, and she is a BCom student at the moment, and she believes that earlier she used to realize that whenever she used to realize that she wasn't good at something, it would lower her confidence. But now she knows that that's not how imperfections should be seen. They should be seen as opportunities to grow, because the more imperfect you are, the better opportunities you have to improve on them. She's a final year college student, and she hopes to live life queen size every day. With that, I would like to request everybody to welcome the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Oishika Ghosh. Toastmaster Oishika, over to you.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I get to today's theme, there is something I want you all to do. I'm going to show you 3 pictures and you have to tell me which of these seem beautiful to you. Okay? Are we cool with it? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. A polling screen will appear in front of you after I'm done showing the pictures, and you can then articulate your choices. So this is the first picture, the second picture, and the third picture. And as soon as the tech mod launches the poll, you can just tell me how many of these pictures seem beautiful to you.
Can you minimize the poll section?
Yeah.
Because it's not visible.
Okay, so I can see a majority of you saying that all the pictures are beautiful. In fact, it's almost an unanimous take. But you know what? None of the pictures that I showed are perfect. They do not satisfy the requirements of symmetry, ideal proportions, or even the common standards of beauty. But yet, these imperfections do not make them less beautiful or of less worth. There's a saying that there is a crack in everything. And only when there is a crack can light enter. Instead of viewing our imperfections with disdain, why can't we embrace them as opportunities to grow and develop? A Toastmasters meeting gives each one of us imperfect as we are, the podium to realize our imperfections and work on them. A typical Toastmasters meeting is divided into three sections: the prepared speech section, the table topic section, and the general evaluation section. Each section being unique and important in their own ways. In order to be inspiring, it is not necessary to be perfect. In fact, perfection is almost like an unreal concept. You can be inspiring just by the way you deal with your imperfections. And to help you deal with your imperfections, we have someone called the general evaluator. Our general evaluator today is someone who himself has never been bogged down by his imperfections. Instead, he has accepted them and dealt with them. His journey with respect to fitness, weight loss, sports, especially cricket, is inspiring on another level. Please put your hands together for the general evaluator today, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Uday, Toastmaster Ushika, and what a wonderful theme that we have today, imperfectly perfect. And what a wonderful way to start the meeting as well with those pictures and depicting how imperfections doesn't make you bad. You all have some of the other flaws, but everything makes us much more beautiful. Well, do you know what is that one thing common amongst each and every one of us? It is that all of us are imperfect. None of us are perfect at anything. And imperfections are good. They're not a big problem. But do you know, more than perfection, what is the more brighter side of your character? Your tenacity to deal with your imperfections. How time and again you'd keep on dealing with your imperfections, make yourself better, and then use that confidence to make yourself better at other things as well that you might not be that great with. And that confidence to deal with certain things makes your character much, much better. Well, in evaluation, in Toastmasters, that's what I'm here for. You might be imperfect, even I am, but with slight more experience, you keep on getting better. And as you keep getting better, you have to give certain portion of your experience to those other people. And that is what my role is. Today, whichever speaker comes on the podium will be given detailed evaluation by myself. And I hope that after this evaluation, you all become a better version of yourself. But I'm sure dealing with someone's imperfections is actually a very tedious task. It is a very big responsibility. So, to help me in this role of mine, I have a group of role players who are going to help me throughout this meeting and explain all the basic things that go wrong that have to be fine tuned, which can make you slightly perfect, a little more perfect. So, we're going to start with the first role player, that is the grammarian, which is played by Toastmaster Usha Madnani. Toastmaster Usha, can you please have the role report?
Thank you, General Evaluator. I'm Adisha. Uh, Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. My role as a grammarian today is to point out the good usage of the language and the not so good usage. And the word of the day is quintessential. The meaning of it is representing the most perfect or typical example of a quality or class. This is an adjective, and the usage can be like in the sentence: he was the quintessential tough guy, strong, silent, and self contained. I will also keep a count of the number of times this word is used and present the report when called upon to do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Udisha. Apologies for calling your name wrong.
No problem.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction of your role. The next role player is that of the timer, which is played by someone who is seldom seen in meetings nowadays, Toastmaster Anirban Datta.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow members and dear guests. I am the timer for the evening, and as a timer, my role is to keep a note of all of the timings used by the speakers. So for prepared speeches, we have the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes, which means I'll be showing the green card at 5th minute, yellow at 6th, and red card at the 7th minute. We have 30 seconds of grace period on both the upper and the lower side. For table topics, the time limit is 1 to 2 minutes. That means green card at 1, yellow at 1:30, and red at 2. And we only have a grace period of 30 seconds on only the upper side in table topics. For evaluation, the time limit is 2 to 3 minutes. So green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3. We also we have a grace period of 30 seconds on both the upper and the lower side for evaluations. I will be back with my timers report when called upon to do so by Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anirban, for introducing your role in such a brilliant manner. The next role player is that of the Vow Counter, which is played by Toastmaster Akash Patnaik. Toastmaster Akash, can you please have the role introduction?
My job is to note down the words that are used as crutch words and filler sounds. These include but are not limited to I will also be noting down the usages of words like well, so, like, but, and I will be noting the number of times that these words are used. And at the end of the meeting, I will present my report when called upon to do so. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Akash, for that role introduction. The next role player is that of the Vow Counter, which is played by Toastmaster Ritika Majumdar. Ma'am, can we please have the role introduction?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I'm the Vow Counter for the evening. As a Vow Counter, my role is to keep track of top 3 wow moments in the meeting. Wow moments are the moments that makes us go wow or leaves us in awe of the speaker. So I'll be keeping a track of that report, and I'll be presenting my report when called upon to do so. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster. The next role player is that of the Parliamentarian, which is played by Toastmaster Meghna Agarwal. Toastmaster Meghna, can you please have the role introduction?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone. I'm Meghna Agarwal, and my role as a parliamentarian is to ensure that all the parliamentary norms are followed. Don't unmute your mic until and unless you have to speak. And once you're done speaking, please mute yourself again. If your video is turned on, make sure to sit in an appropriate position. Don't write anything inappropriate in the Zoom chat. Don't talk about sex, religion, and politics in a derogatory manner. I'll present my report when called upon to do so. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Meghna. So that was my team of ancillary role players, and we'll be evaluating each and every one of the speakers today in the fag end of the meeting. So with that, let's hand it back to someone who puts enormous amount of efforts for even the smallest of roles. So you all can imagine what kind of Toastmaster of the Day session she's gonna pull off today. So can we have Toastmaster Uishika Ghosh Majumdar as a Toastmaster of the Day back on the podium?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Moving on. When I started discovering my imperfections, when I started discovering my flaws, be it in respect of academics, be it in respect of communication or relationships, it made me feel less. And what I did was what every quintessential escapist does: shove it under the carpet. I tried to shove all my imperfections under the carpet and hope that no one saw them. But that was, again, as I said, escapist of me to do. And as soon as I realized that dealing with imperfections is very important. And the best way to deal with imperfections is by preparation. So up next, we have the prepared speech section. In this section, each speaker is required to come prepared. With preparation, they are able to deal with their imperfections and embark on a track of growth and progress. So first up, I would like to call Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh. He is the Vice President membership of our club, and he will be evaluating our first speaker of the day. Toastmaster Gurpreet, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Uishika. A very good evening to one and all present here. The speaker is delivering his path completion project to reflect on your journey from dynamic leadership. And the purpose of the project is for the member to reflect on his or her growth during the completion of the entire path. The member is expected to share some aspect of his or her growth during the completion of this path. Timer, please note that the time limit is 10 to 12 minutes, and all the best to the speaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gurpreet. Our first speaker of the day is someone who believes that dealing with imperfections begin with baby steps. And look at him today. By taking numerous of these baby steps, he has reached a point where he will be delivering his pathway completion speech today. Mentored by distinguished Toastmaster Siddharth Churiwal, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Naren Agarwal with this speech title, Can Toastmasters Make You Happy?
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. As I reflect on my path and having almost completed it, I realize that apart from many other things that this pathway and this journey with Toastmasters has given me, it has really given me a lot of happiness. A big human pursuit is the feeling of happiness. We all orient our actions daily towards things that give us happiness. But what really makes us happy? And can Toastmasters make us truly happy? According to Vishen Lakhiani, the founder of the largest personal development company in the world right now called Mind Valley, and also an author and meditator, there are three essential things that give us happiness. Three fundamental, basic, quintessential, essential things that give us happiness. The first one being experiences. We all crave and want to have experiences that enhance the pleasure and happiness in our lives, whether it be eating a huge meal of buffet, or it be traveling in a certain exotic car, or flying down to Australia and watching some kangaroos. We all crave for certain experiences, and these experiences add to the happiness that we feel. The second important quintessential factor for happiness is the feeling of growth. Yes, growth. Have you ever wondered why an entrepreneur who's successful and has almost everything picks up the guitar from scratch and wants to play and just learn a couple chords? That's because innately human beings love the feeling of growth, even if it's a tiny little bit, even if it's imperfect, because growth gives us the feeling of happiness and something larger than us happening. Somebody who has six packs wants to go for the eighth pack, leaving others wondering why they want to go for such a big feat. But it's that just mini level of growth that gives us immense happiness, and that's why we strive to do things. The third component that Vishen Lakhiani shares is contribution. People think, then they try to prove that we are all selfish, that we always want to do things that only benefit us. But lately, even economists are understanding that contribution is something that people get a lot of joy out of. Ever wondered why Warren Buffett pledged more than 90% of his billions of dollars of wealth towards donation? That's because after reaching a certain point, contribution really gives us help. It's kind of like wanting to share tea with somebody at the tea stall as opposed to drinking by yourself, even though it might cost you more money, but it's more fun and more happy to share that tea with somebody. There was an interesting study done where about two groups of people were given $5 a week. The first group spent it on themselves, and the second group was asked to spend it on others, give it away. And after the study, it was found that the second group felt 25% happier, which shows that truly contribution enables us to be happy. Well, this is good, but Naren, how does this have to do with your Toastmasters journey? How does this relate, and what does this have to do? Well, let me break my journey down in these three buckets and tell you why Toastmasters has truly given me happiness. One, the journey of Toastmasters in the past 1.5 years has been one filled with experiences. The experience of spending 2 hours every week dedicated to enhancing my communication skills with a wonderful group like yours, people who really care about growing and personal development and leadership, is a great experience. Experiences that I did not have in school and college because people there were forcibly there, but people here are here out of choice. The experience of attending workshops and listening to the best of the best from around the world on how impromptu speaking works, on how prepared speeches work, on how debating competitions happen, experiencing the transition from in-person meetings to a virtual meeting. 1.5 years of experience has been fantastic. The experience of attending, celebrating the 600th Kolkata Toastmasters meeting and winning the best table topic speaker there alongside in front of the maestros of public speaking in Eastern India. The experience of having a mentor like Siddharth Churiwal, who's a veteran club member, distinguished Toastmaster, and someone who has more than 100 mentees across his span of mentoring. Someone I learned a lot from, especially about how to come up with great content. You see, Toastmasters for me in the past 1.5 years has been full of these experiences, and these experiences provide me with a lot of happiness. Coming to the second point, growth. One cannot just have wonderful experiences from Toastmaster, but the biggest thing one gets is actually growth. People may and can complain about many things, like in every other organization, but I bet no one can say who's an active member at Toastmasters that I did not grow. Everybody who comes here and is active at meetings is bound to grow. And that's why Toastmasters gives us a lot of happiness. For me personally, it was starting with valuing time by the minute. I mean, we start bang on time. Speeches are timed to position of the second, and everyone respects time in the meeting. And that was a big aspect of growth for me. Growing as a listener. Here in Toastmasters, we are forced to be an active listener, not just in one way, but in many different ways. When you play grammarian, you are trying to listen for proper and improper usages of grammar. But when you're the R counter, I was trying to listen to what crutch words, what filler words are people using. And of course, when you're the evaluator, you got to listen intently because everything that you're about to speak depends on active and intentful listening. Growing as a listener was a big deal for me. Growing as someone who receives and provides feedback. I realized that this is the single most important growth for me personally in the past 1.5 years of this pathway and Toastmasters journey. Feedback is an art every professional, especially entrepreneur, needs. In fact, let me tell you, the key to a great relationship is also being able to receive and provide feedback wonderfully. And Toastmasters can help you do that. Growing as a speaker, learning how to use the stage effectively, speak impromptu, put on a fake smile in front of the audience, even though you feel down that day. Growing to master your emotions when on stage and being presentful. Really, Toastmasters provides the simulation for all kinds of really in-person situations through its various ways in which one can grow as a speaker. And I personally discovered a big joy in impromptu speaking through this growth journey because the sheer adrenaline rush it provides and the sense of growth you feel after walking on stage by facing the challenge, even though your speech might not have been that good. Third, and lastly, contribution. Contribution makes us happy. When I joined Toastmasters, I wondered why did people like Archita, Shauryada, Rohanda, Siddharth Churiwal. I wondered why they have so many mentees with them. I mean, they have so many things to do. They were swamped. They do not have all of the time in the world, yet they mentored and they had all these mentees. And today I can say, I understand what mindset they would be in. It seemed crazy to me at that point, but after now having 5 young, bright mentees under my wings, I realize truly sharing is joyous. Contribution gives a lot of pleasure and happiness. The fact that you have seen something and you can help others walk the same path or make them grow and be the catalyst in their journey is a different kind of joy, which is unexplainable by logic. And hence, this is how Toastmasters, through contribution, has made me happy in becoming a mentor for some mentees. I hope that through this process of me sharing the stories and my journey across Toastmasters and this pathway, you were able to relate to at least some aspect of my journey. I wish that you are on a path and you discover how happy you could be in Toastmasters through these 3 ways, through experiences, through growth, and through contribution. Toastmasters proves that the journey is more important than the destination. And I'm so happy that we are taking this journey out here choicefully, out of consciousness, as opposed to being forced in this journey. Once again, this journey is something that you can truly derive happiness out of through these three buckets that I shared. And I hope you do the same. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naren. It was a wonderful speech, and we can have our videos on and clap for Toastmaster Naren as he is completing his pathway tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, can I please hear a big round of applause? Up next, I want to call upon the evaluator of the second speaker. Let me call upon Toastmaster Achyut Todi. He will be evaluating our second speaker of the day. Toastmaster Achyut, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, everyone. Our second speaker for the evening is delivering her project 2 from level 1 on the path of innovative planning. Her speech is timed for 5 to 7 minutes, and there are 2 primary objectives of this speech. Sorry for the contradiction, because 2 primary. But the first objective of the speech is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply this feedback to a second speech. The main intention here is to actually focus on the feedback specifically. And yeah, let's see what the speaker has in store for us. Over to the Toastmaster of the day to call upon the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Achyut. Our second speaker of the day is someone who feels that now that she's coming up for her second speech in the club, she is more prepared and more confident to face her imperfections. Also, she is an extremely dynamic woman. She is the sergeant at arms of our club, mentored by distinguished Toastmaster Archita Tiwari. Please, can we hear a big round of applause as we welcome Toastmaster Anam Rahman with a speech titled Funimism. Toastmaster Anam Rahman, speech titled Funimism. Madam?
Yeah, I'm here.
Will you be able to continue?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Am I audible and visible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Equality, upliftment, empowerment, equal and fair opportunities, similar treatment, crushing down patriarchy. Me is equals to he. I am sure by now it is obvious to all of you as to what I'm talking about. A very warm and gender neutral greeting to everyone present here. For those of you who still didn't understand, today I will be addressing the movement, ideology, theory issue called feminism. Feminism. Genuine slip of tongue. One must be living under the rock if he or she hasn't heard of this term before. But what does it mean? I myself was confused. So I did a little research and posed this question on all of my social media profiles, where I regularly see posts on the same by my friends and followers. Strangely, only 10 to 15% of these activists felt the need to explain to someone the meaning of something they so frequently preach about. Now, this could be due to one of the 2 reasons. Either they don't care or they don't know. Now, if it is the former, it only shows their indifference. But if it is the latter, then God help us. For we all know that a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And one just needs to flip through the newspapers of the recent past to understand the destruction caused by protests based on this little knowledge. From the answers that I received, I must admit the case is indeed the latter. Majority of them believe that it is about being treated equal to men. Mind you, the word used is equal, which means not less and also not more. They said it is about breaking down patriarchy, which essentially means making sure that all the primary roles are not held by men. So I asked these women, who is the bread earner of their family? And all of them said it is their father or husband. So these women want to bring down men from power, but are weirdly okay with male supremacy at their own home because all of them are qualified and capable of contributing to their family, but most of them have chosen to be entirely dependent on a man for their living. And here lies the hypocrisy and the fun part of feminism. Let me clarify. I am not against this movement. I am against the hypocrisy, pretentiousness, and irrationalism which is crept into it. Here's a little incident to highlight this thing. I was traveling in a metro, and a very old and senile man was seated at one corner. At a station, a middle aged, physically fit woman boarded the train, walked up to that old man, and confidently pointed her finger above the seat. The poor man and I both followed the direction of her finger, which was pointing at a signboard. Do I need to tell you what was written on it? It obviously read, reserved for ladies. But did this lady really needed that reserved seat? Just last year, a female character of an Indian Netflix series was being condemned all over the internet for her misogynistic views. She was playing the role of a marriage consultant and was termed as cringeworthy by all the users. For in her opinion, girls must be tall, good looking, flexible, adjusting to be able to find the perfect groom. Can you guess which character I'm talking about? Anyone? Indeed, it is Seema Ande from Indian matchmaking. Now I agree, her views were sexist and wrong, but I would urge you to open the newspaper one day, read through the matrimonial section, where you will find a different version of Seema Ande. Girls demanding for more qualified, more rich, and more good looking grooms for herself, for she has accepted that she's supposed to be the beta and not the alpha. Dear women, a little truth bomb for you. Men have been able to dominate over us because you have let them and are continuing to do so even today. Before bashing them, you need to change your perspective. Empower yourself without the help of others and especially without the benefits carved out by them for you. Instead of sharing quotes like, when you educate a woman, you educate a generation. Do it. Start with the members of your house because not just charity, everything begins at home. Instead of saying, I support women, share the work and business of your female kith and kin and show your support. And instead of focusing on bringing down men, work towards the upliftment of women because the way ahead is not by pushing others back. So, what is feminism? Feminism's first wave, which was in the 19th century, was focused on women's voting rights. From that to having female leaders and representatives in politics, and in every other field, we have come a long way. But unfortunately, this progressive ideology has lost its path amidst extremism and fanaticism. It's time to take a step back, reconsider, and then move ahead constructively rather than destructively. Remember, this is not a fight for power. This is a fight for justice. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anam. We can again turn on her videos and clap for her. It doesn't seem like she's giving her speech for just the second time. It's looking like she's so experienced, and she's someone who always manages to inspire me. I think she manages to inspire each one of us to take the plunge and try out different things, irrespective of whether they turn out to be perfect or not, without fretting about it. So, the Japanese have a term called Kimsugi. This term, one second. This is the art of repairing broken pottery with a golden inlay. Instead of discarding the broken piece, it is restored. The gold serves to highlight the break and becomes a part of its history. Instead of a breakage being the end of everything, it is the celebration of what was and what now is. The Japanese art of appreciating the beauty of imperfect things is what they call as wabi-sabi. It is a beautiful concept which we should even implement in our lives. Instead of being distraught by our imperfections, to embrace them and let them become a part of our individuality. Because we all know that it is our imperfections which lend us our individuality. It is imperfections alone which make us who we are and what makes us stand apart. To not shy away from imperfections, but to realize what they are and accept them and to eventually work on them is very, very important. And in line with this theory, we have the table topic session. Our table topic master today is someone who is a member of the Kolkata Youth Toastmasters Club. She, like a true table topic master, feels that improvement in imperfections begin with acceptance of our flaws, and that too with a positive attitude. Please put your hands together as I welcome Toastmaster Brinda Rathi, our table topic master tonight. Toastmaster Brinda, the podium is all yours.
Thank you so much. Am I audible and visible?
Toastmaster Brinda, you're not audible, I think. Yeah.
Am I now audible?
No, you're not.
She is audible, Ushika.
Okay, then it's probably a problem at my end. I'm sorry.
So should I start?
Yes, Brinda, you can go ahead.
How many times have you been told by your boss, family, or friends that you are worth nothing? Or maybe something you have lacking in this or something like that. I have been through, and that too multiple times. But I came to this conclusion that I am imperfectly perfect. Hello everyone, I am Brinda Rathi and I am table topic master for today's meeting. So let me just discuss few things about table topics. Table topic session is that impromptu speech session in which one has to come and say few things for around 1 to 2 minutes. It will enhance your listening skills, speaking skills, and help you a lot. For table topic time allotted is 1 to 2 minutes. Green card shall be displayed by the end of 1 minute, yellow card by the end of 1.5 minutes, and red card by the end of 2 minutes. A grace period of 30 seconds is given to qualify for the vote. I would request everyone to use the word of the day as much as possible. So let's begin with our fun session. Who is my first volunteer? Let me tell you, I can pick anyone.
on, everybody, switch on your videos. I can't pick anyone.
2 people have raised their hands.
I'm sorry.
Abhishek Mohata has raised his hand.
Okay. So, Toastmaster Abhishek Mohata.
I'm not a Toastmaster yet. I'm just a guest.
So, Abhishek Mohata, your topic for today is good is the enemy of great. Good is the enemy of great. Over to you.
Thank you, Tabletop Master. Greatness. What is greatness? Do we think that we are a great country? Does America thinks it is a great country? We cannot be a great country or a person until unless we become good. And to become good, first of all, we have to be a bad person. Because until unless we are a bad person, we cannot improve to be a good person. And until unless we are good, we cannot be great. So greatness, until unless we achieve good, we cannot be a great person, great human being, great country, or anything in greatness. Now, thing is, if good or bad, how to define it? Whether by our culture, by our behavior, excuse me, our culture, behavior, my nature, our activities done. If America thinks that they are good and they are great, but by supplying ammunitions and everything else, they don't do some certain good, great work. But when we as Indians, we supply human beings to United Nations to settle the civil wars in between the European countries, which I personally experienced when I was in Kosovo, where in each and individual person I have met, they say, if you are an Indian, you are a blessing in disguise for us because it was the Indian contingent of the United Nations which helped us close down the civil war between Kosovo and Macedonia. And that was the feeling which I received as an Indian that yes, my country is not only good, but it is great country. Sometimes this greatness also backfires when our neighboring countries like Pakistan or China thinks that our greatness towards doing the peaceful jobs becomes our weakness as we are cowards. But I'm sorry, we are not cowards, but we are great country. Thank you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek. And yes, we are not coward, and we are here to at least do something in our life. So, who's my next volunteer? I'm sorry, but I don't remember your name.
Toastmaster Deepak
Toastmaster
has raised his
Deepak.
hand.
I think I should rename myself now. But
Toastmaster
yeah,
Deepak, your topic today is there is no success without sacrifice. There is no success without sacrifice.
well, we all get 24 hours in a day, but what do we do most of the time? Well, if you ask me, I spend most of my time watching contents and learning things, but then I would cry about that I'm not so good at coding. How would I be good at coding if I don't practice it enough? Well, similarly, if you ask yourself and if you cry about something, just look at yourself because you're not giving enough time on that particular activity, right? You let's say that well, okay, thank you.
So up next we have Toastmaster Pratyush. Topic for you is
Yes, am I audible?
yeah, you are.
Okay.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. A goal without a plan is just a wish.
Sir, can you repeat it once? Hello?
A goal without a plan is just a wish. Over to you, Toastmaster Pratyush.
In childhood days, when I used to sometimes play football, although I have played it very less times, I was a cricket booster. I always like to play cricket. But sometimes when I used to play football, the captain used to tell us that we can see the goal post, but we will have to find the gap through which we can reach up to that. Without finding that gap, or without planning that how we can reach that post, we can never do that goal or win the match. So goal is something which is visible to us. For example, we see the example of Steve Jobs, or we see example of rich industrialists in our country as well, like Tata's, Birla's, Ambani's. We can see them, and want to be like them. The goal is visible to us, but the main thing that most of us sometimes fails or sometimes do the mistake is that we do not plan perfectly. All of us has a goal, but before reaching to that goal, we should have the right plan and the right direction, because without a direction and without a plan, a goal is something that we can visualize only. We cannot achieve it. There is a difference between visualizing and achieving. I can visualize a crown, but for achieving that crown, I will have to plan, I will have to work in that manner so that I can reach that destination. Thank you, and back to you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pratyush, for that amazing take on that topic. So up next, we have Manish Gupta. And topic for you is embrace the glorious mess you are. Embrace the glorious mess you are. Over to you.
Embrace the Gloria. Can you please repeat again?
Embrace the glorious mess you are.
Glorious mess. I couldn't understand what word you said after glorious.
Mess you are.
MESS?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Embrace the glorious mess I am. Sometime in my life, I'm in a hurry. So I make horrendous mistake. And I make mess out of that. Sometime I have to visit to the train station, and the train time is 9 p.m. and 5 p.m. I'm in a hurry mode. Then I have to reach at the train station. I live in a trouble-torn area where I imagine the story in my mind that if I reach late, maybe I can miss train. So I leave home early. I drive very fast. When I reach a train station, I hear the announcement. The train is late for another 3 hours. So I make a mess out of that. Because I'm always in a hurry mode. That I have to do this thing very fast. So I always make a mess. And that thing is holding me back. When I have to visit to any person with whom I have an appointment, I drive so fast. I don't see the consequence. What is going to happen if I hit somebody? I make mess out of that. And when I reach at the person with whom I have an appointment, entire way, I keep on watching my time. Like, am I getting late? Am I getting late? Am I getting late? So I take so much of stress. Because of that stress, I'm almost in mess. So sometimes I think it's part of life. Sometimes you have to be fast somewhere. So I embrace it sometimes. Thank you. Out to the Toastmaster, please.
Thank you so much for that amazing take on that topic, yes. And we all want to embrace the glorious mess we all are. So up next we have Toastmaster Rashmi. Toastmaster Rashmi?
Yes, good evening.
And good evening. And the topic for you is to travel is to live. To travel is to live. Over to you.
Thank you, table topic master. To travel is to live. So, uh, 2 years back, I traveled to Bhutan, and my parents are like they're complete orthodox kind of. They won't allow me a solo trip. So I lied to them that I'm going on a girls trip, and I managed to to have a conversation with one of my friends, and she called my parents that yeah, we're also going on a trip. So yeah, so I went to a trip, and there, how many of you know about the tiger's nest? Okay, so I've never been a sports person in my life, even though from past 1 year I've been learning yoga. But for me, I've never been a sports person. I've never joined any sports activity. For me, trekking is kind of an adventurous activity, like a complete one. And the tiger's nest is like climbing, like it was like a 1 day journey. Like we have to climb in the morning, and we have to wake up around uh, in the morning so that we can climb and climb down and come and reach to our destination by the evening. So for me, I managed to do it, and I completed that trekking, and it was by far one of my most best traveling experiences. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rashmi. I can totally relate because even I have the same Orthodox family that doesn't allow me to go on a solo trip. So up next, let me see volunteer something. Guest Rohit Kolte, can you please switch on your camera?
Yeah. So I'm trying to switch on my video, but I think it is not getting. However, I hope I am audible. I think camera is also on.
Yeah. Okay. So topic for you is to get ahead, you must get started. To get ahead, you must get started. Over to you.
Yeah, so it's Brindaji, it's very true. So if you want to go ahead, you must start somewhere, and that's the life what I feel. So like whatever you do, so if you are studying, if you are doing a job, you must start somewhere. Like if for hobbies, I'll give example. I started. Earlier I wanted to learn a dance, but I never started, so I never went ahead, and still I can't dance. So who can dance? So that's the song very suits to me. But however, this time when I came to Kolkata, I saw there are many singers, and the culture of all the singers dancing, all the art is in Kolkata. That's there in a DNA. So when I came here, I started learning singing, and now after end of the 4 5 months, I am seeing I am somewhere ahead of now whatever I want to pursue. So this is the very fact that someone should start if you want to move ahead in life, move ahead in a maybe a group. So that's it. Over to you, Toastmaster Binda.
Thank you so much. I didn't even feel that I was listening to a guest. So when are you looking for? We are looking forward to become your Toastmaster.
Thank you. Sure, definitely very soon.
Up next, start someone volunteering. First of Dava, can you please switch on your camera? The topic for you is a smooth sea never makes a skilled sailor. A smooth sea never makes a skilled sailor. Over to you.
Costa, you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes, you are.
So, what was the topic? A smooth mix?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you repeat the topic again once?
A smooth sea never makes a skilled sailor.
A smooth thing never makes a skilled sailor.
Yes.
What will I say? I am not totally prepared for this speech.
It's okay. Thank you so much.
I will try my best next time.
It's okay. Thank you so much. So here we come to end of the session since we are facing time crunch. So I'll hand over the podium to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brinda. Let's have a round of applause for all those who participated and especially for Toastmaster Brinda for being the table topic master. Toastmaster Brinda is herself a very new member, and within a few months, she has achieved she's completed her first level. So that's also very, very inspiring. And table topic session is a session which we should come back to. By coming back at table topics, we realize where we stand and where we lag. And it is not something to feel distraught about. Now let's take a small example. When autumn comes and leaves start falling, we see their burnt orange color, and when we walk over them, we feel the crunch. But do we feel a sense of loss for the bare trees or the fact that the leaves are not green? We don't. We appreciate the beauty of the leaves as imperfect as they are. And when spring comes and new leaves start falling, greener and more beautiful, we appreciate that as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, being imperfect is absolutely normal. What is important is how we deal with them. Scars, laugh lines, mistakes, shortcomings, and life in general. Everything is imperfect. And most importantly, everything is imperfectly perfect. On that note, I would like to hand over the podium to the General Evaluator. Mr. General Evaluator, can we have you once again? Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ushika, and what a wonderful way you've conducted this session. Well, we are now into the general evaluation session, and it's now time that we deal with our imperfections. And we had two fantastic speeches today, and to evaluate them, we have two fantastic evaluators. So let's call upon our first evaluator of the first speech, which was delivered by Toastmaster Naren. So can we have the first evaluator, Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh, on the podium?
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Good evening to one and all, and especially a very good evening to the target speaker, Toastmaster Naren Agarwal. They say journey is more important than the destination. And Toastmaster Naren, congratulations, first of all, for completing your path. And really, your journey has been really more important than your destination. Now, let me tell you three things that I absolutely loved about your speech. Point number one, the spontaneity in your speech. It sounded so realistic. Never did it seem for us, a fraction of a second that you were actually delivering a prepared speech. It was spontaneous, absolutely on point. The second thing was the 360 approach. Now, this is very important. You started off with three quintessential, fundas for happiness. So that was your starting point, and you concluded with the same. So starting and closing the talk with the same funda, giving it a 360 approach makes your speech more realistic, and it was wonderfully done. The third thing that I really loved about your speech was the great transition. You did tell us about the three quintessential fundas for happiness, and the transition in your speech coming from the experiences to your growth and finally to the contribution. I loved that transition. But of course, there's always a scope of taking your speech to the next level. So here are some of few recommendations that I have for you. Number one, Toastmaster Naren, at one point of time, towards the end especially, I felt that your speech was repetitive. You were delivering an impromptu speech, no doubt about it. But at a point, I felt that you were being repetitive because you kept on repeating towards the end, perhaps expecting the green card to flash at any point of time. So you were repeating, those those three things that you had on your bucket list, and that abrupt ending, therefore, that followed. I was expecting a takeaway. I was expecting Toastmaster Naren to tell me something that I could probably take back home and think about it. If this is Toastmaster Naren's journey, probably how can this affect my life? So that was somehow missing. The third, I felt, Toastmaster Naren, this is your path completion project. I was expecting emotions. By emotions, I mean a combination of expressions, gestures, vocal variety. I was expecting you to show us your story, to show your journey. But I felt that somewhere down the line, you were just telling your story. The pauses were missing, Toastmaster Naren, especially when you said $5 to this group, $5 to this group. This group spent the money on themselves. The other group, they spent the money on others. So I was expecting some kind of emotion and pauses to come in there. Nevertheless, great delivery, I must admit, Toastmaster Naren. To summarize, I would say you had great transition. I loved the 360-degree approach. You had spontaneity in your speech, just that you could take care of the repetitive part of it. Make sure that you don't end abruptly because you still had a lot of time in hand. The emotions, if you could add them, and I'm sure you will crave for more experiences. There will be more growth in you, Toastmaster Naren, and absolutely, we all know that you're contributing as a Toastmaster and as a member of the society. All the best to you. Back to you, Sir General Evaluator.
Well, that's what you get when you attend meetings at KTM. A power pack speech from Naren Agarwal and a power pack evaluation from Toastmaster Gurpreet. I always get lucky that whenever Toastmaster Naren is giving his speech, Toastmaster Gurpreet has to evaluate him, and I am the general evaluator, so I never leave this opportunity to say that how lucky I am that I didn't have to evaluate Toastmaster Naren. Well, first, before going to Toastmaster Naren, first to Toastmaster Gurpreet. Toastmaster Gurpreet, you are a champion evaluator, and you know how to make good points and how to give good points to the speaker. However, in your delivery, your introduction was really good, but the transformation from the introduction to the commendation, there was a change in speed. For example, when you were introducing your evaluation, the main introduction of your evaluation, the change into the points was very sudden and very rapid. So it was very clear that you wanted to rush into the points and get into the points very immediately. So you have to manage that change in speed after giving an introduction. But on and on, I believe the points were fantastic and you covered mostly all the points except for a few, which I'll be noting now. And all the very best for the area contest that is on Sunday. Coming to the speaker, Toastmaster Naren. Toastmaster Rene, can Toastmasters make you happy? Well, when you hear speeches like this, I'm pretty sure that Toastmasters make you happy even by listening to such speeches. I think your speech had every gesture of good public speaking that people come and people would pay to listen to you, honestly. And really, the one great thing I liked about your speech was that you got to connect that loop about experiences, growth, and contribution that make people happy, and how contribution, experience, and growth in Toastmasters made you happy. And I think that was a good way to connect your reflect on your past speech using this example. And when you're mentioning about reflect on your past speech, there are certain things that have to be mentioned, such as something on your mentor, how he helped you, how much you look up to him, and then the different roles that you have taken up and how the roles help you in different aspects of public speaking. And I think you touched upon almost all these things. But Toastmaster Naren, there was one thing that was missing. That is when you're reflecting on your path, you want to reflect on certain projects as well, right? And I believe you didn't, pay attention to those projects as well. For example, icebreaker is a very important part of your path. You know, you just put your feet on the pedal. So you can mention about your icebreaker or maybe some very important project like a high performance leadership if you have that in your path. You could have mentioned such important projects as well, which particularly developed that kind of importance in your path as well. So that could have been included as well. But nonetheless, big congratulations to you for completing your path. It is a tremendous feat, and I hope that you do not stop here and you keep on going path after path. All the best for your future speeches. Well, the next speaker was a young speaker, but a fantastic speaker, Toastmaster Anam, who was evaluated by Toastmaster Achyut Todi. Toastmaster Achyut, can you please have the evaluation?
Hello, can I get a quick audio check?
Yeah, you are audible.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone, and especially Toastmaster Anam, the poised, powerful, and prepared speaker for the evening. You had delivered in a speech which helped create awareness in the audience and persuade a large part of them towards a particular action. Funism. This topic in itself invoked curiosity. As an audience, I I think the first thing which stood out to me was the logical flow of your speech, where you piqued the curiosity of the audience, then you challenged them, and then you brought us back to the on ground with actionable steps of how to deal with what you had described. The second thing which I loved in your speech was the powerful words and the intentional measured gestures that you had. It did not certainly look like your second speech. For there was a sync between how you were using your words and complementing with them with actions. And this actually helped bring about a certain engaged opening, which had the audience hooked to the speech, at least especially me. Although because the topic was something which wasn't clear up front, I was initially confused. But that confusion was not as a state of something which helped disconnect me, but rather engage me more to your speech. And another very good point about your speech was the intentional words you used and how strong diction helped bring a flow to the speech. There were some words which also lit up how you had spoken. For example, the word senile. It was something which you don't come across as commonly used. That said, grammar was a sort of two-edged sword because you did the grandiose part with ease, but there were simple areas where you could be better, right? Senile was preceded by the word old, which essentially senile means showing signs of old age or weakness. So that was a sort of repetition. Another place where this happened again was where he used more rich, which could be a more efficient way to explain this could be richer. A second way you can improve your speech is the conclusion of it. This is where you added a new fact at 6 minutes and 38 seconds, which took me back by surprise because I was not sure of what to expect. As an audience, that was a new idea. A way this could be done better would be actually recapping your speech because it's a topic which is a very different take on it, and then reiterating your call to action. And the third part, which brings me to a larger commentary on what you had spoken rather than just the structure, was I think as a man, I don't know if I could connect to your speech as much because the topic is something which was there. But I felt that audience awareness I was personally lost in parts of the content. And this is something which I can't comment much on patriarchy from the view of a woman because patriarchy is a deep rooted issue. Maybe so much so that men might need to do something to reverse over 500 years of how it's explained. But that said, I think you got the basics on point, and it did not definitely look like a second speech. That said, some points on audience engagement could make your speech much more connected and relevant with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Achyut. That was a beautiful delivered evaluation, and what a wonderful way to create an evaluation like a speech and delivering almost all the points that I had basically on content. But Toastmaster Achyut, I have a few points for you as well before I go to Toastmaster Anam. That is, it is a level 1 project to speech. And the main purpose for the level 1 project to speech is that we need to give evaluation also based, of course, on the basis of speech as well, but also on the basis of delivery, so that the speaker has something to work upon on the delivery while she's delivering the speech again. So I think your main evaluation was very content specific, and that could have been you could have also added some parts of her delivery as well that actually helps her to bring in that kind of the changes in delivery and learning new styles of delivery in the second speech of the same project. And one of your recommendation was that she used good grammatical words, and I believe we have a grammarian role specifically for that. So I think you could have it was a good word definitely and worth mentioning in evaluation as well, but let's just keep it only to the grammarian's perspective as well. But on and all, it was a very wonderfully delivered evaluation from you, Toastmaster Achut. And moving to Toastmaster Anam, well, if the evaluator is not giving you reasons. Okay, I'll come to that later. But Toastmaster, and I must see that, like Toastmaster Achyut said, phonemism, like as you call it, phonemism. It was a very creative, term to come up with such kind of a speech. And throughout the speech, during the early stages of the speech, and I was thinking that how are you going to connect it feminism with this thing, and eventually everything happened, and it seemed like a very mature speech. But however, Toastmaster Anam, I do have one point of recommendation for you on the basis of delivery. That is, you had almost every kind of, we talk about basics of public speaking, like some voice modulation, hand gestures, some body language, everything. And you had most of these things, and there are a lot of things that you learn gradually. But when you talk about hand gestures, there's a particular gesture that you are continuously repeating, right? You had some gestures, but you're coming back to your crutch gesture. That is this. And time and again, whenever you had some gesture or the other, you are coming back to this crutch gesture. Okay, this one. Sorry. Okay, so you're coming back to this crutch gesture. So I think crutch gestures, it hooks the audience attention to that position only. And from there, they start looking at different ways where you're going to take your hand for different movements. Okay. So try not to have that crutch gesture and keep the hands free, or maybe like this as well. But keep on moving and don't get it over here. Crutch gesture doesn't mean that your hand is always coming back to a position like this. Even this is fine if you are going left or right with this position. But a crutch gesture means we are actually getting both your hands closer, and you're unconsciously getting it closer and keeping it over here. So that has to be avoided. Uh, and another recommendation for you is that your speech was a very powerful speech. And when you deliver that kind of speech in your level one project too, it also gives the evaluator very less chance to give you some kind of recommendation or commendation on the delivery. Right, where your main aspect is to focus on delivery right now, maybe not as much as in your content. So I think having speeches which is not so content that is not so strong in content could have been better, but your main focus could have been delivery. Some more respect in your delivery while you're preparing as well. That could have been better. But on and all, I must say, it didn't seem like a level on project two. You are a much more mature speaker than the project determines, and I'm sure that you're going to go places in Toastmasters. We all can assure that. So congratulations for that fantastic speech, meticulous evaluation, Toastmaster Achyut. Let us see more of both of you all in the times to come. So thank you so much to all the prepared speeches, to all the evaluators. I now go on to the table topic speakers. And to start with, the first table topic speaker was guest Abhishek. Good is the enemy of great. Guest Abhishek, I must say, as a guest, it is not very easy to come on the podium and speak so fluently for more than 2 minutes, but you did it. You did a perfect job speaking on the podium for 2 minutes straight. And trust me, there was never a single instance when you seemed stuck or you seemed, maybe you were confused what to say. You are very clear in what you had to say and how you had to say. And that was a very great great aspect as a speaker. Well, however, guest Abhishek, the topic was good is the enemy of great, and I think you had a wrong take on on the topic as well. You said that to be great you have to be good, but the topic was to be great you don't have to be good. I mean, good is not just enough to be great. If you're just good, that is kind of an enemy to your greatness, and that is where I think you didn't understand the topic really well. So a good hack over here, how you can ace it for the next time is when you listen to a topic, you need not start immediately. Impromptu doesn't mean you start right when you get the topic. It means you can take some time, maybe 2 3 seconds or 5 seconds as well, and you can think about what the topic is, and then you can gradually start speaking. It will come with practice, but you can take some time and then start speaking. I think the flow was amazing. Just the take, that too, a very minor change in the take would have been made this table topic an excellent one. So all the best for your future table topics, and we wish to see more of your table topics as well. The second table topic speaker was Toastmaster Deepak Ved. There is no success without sacrifice. Well, Toastmaster Deepak, you are an experienced speaker now, and sometimes such kind of not knowing what to speak, how to speak, it happens. It happens with us, it happens all the time. But the good thing is that you're making a conscious effort to come back on the podium time and again, and you're able to speak something. And that is why I know you are going to improve in the future meeting as well. We've seen your journey. You've grown a lot after, in the past 1.5 years. And I'm sure the distance ahead is much more, and you're definitely going to cover it. However, in the little that you spoke, I believe you started your table topic with a personal story, right? And when you start with a personal story, the only thing that comes to your mind is that story. But the starting time when you're actually taking, have a take on the topic should be, how do I start from the topic? What can be a more impactful beginning? Because while you give yourself that time to speak on that beginning, you know what story you have to bring further. And that story could have come a little later. And that ways you could have, used more stage time. So I would recommend that in this kind of a table topic, there is no success without sacrifice. When there is a lot of things you could start as an introduction, you bring your personal story a little later. But on I know it was tough. Table topics are not very easy, but I'm sure you're going to do good in the next table topics. The next table topic speaker was Toastmaster Pratyush. A goal without a plan is just a wish. And Toastmaster Pratyush, what a wonderful format you had. A good introduction, personal story, and then a good conclusion with a good message. So I think the format of the table topic was absolutely perfect. And you tried to connect it with how these big business houses like Tata's, Birlas, and Ambanis make definite plans to reach the goal that they have set for themselves. And you also use that kind of story for yourself about the football post. But however, there was one thing, that a goal without a plan is just a wish. You had the goal in mind, that is the post, but you did not talk about how the plan did or did not work for you. So I think some of that content, that how that plan worked for you, did you actually be able to shoot the goal, or you made some mistakes and then you learned from your mistakes and then you were able to shoot it on the goal. So I think the plan, how you used it, or did it work or did it not work, that could have been included in your table topic. But on and all, I'm sure you're taking up table topics time and again. I've seen you in a lot of table topics, and you've improved leaps and bounds. And I'm sure that in times to come, you're going to do it much better. The next table topic was guest Munish, embrace the glorious mess you are. Guest Munish, whenever you're on the podium, one thing that is absolutely certain is that we're going to see some brilliant dramatizing of topics. You have a strong voice, you dramatize it really well, and it adds so much more value to whatever you say. And today was no different. Today, whenever you're in the meeting in KTM, we always look forward to your table topics, because we get to see some kind of drama, some strong voice, and that is how table topics are made much more interesting. However, the guest Munish, uh, the topic was embrace the glorious mess you are. And I think more than embracing in your topic, you were kind of complaining that you are a mess. And I think that was the wrong take on the topic that you had today. You had to speak on that even if you are imperfect in any manner, or you have certain flaws in your manner, you don't need to worry about that. You not complain about that. Be happy about it and try to change it over time. But I think your take was kind of in a way that you were complaining about the mess, and that is where I think you took the wrong take on the topic. So same like I told to guest Abhishek, that you could take some time and then you could start speaking, and I think the outcome of the table topic could have been better that way. Toastmaster Rashmi was the next table topic speaker, and the topic was to travel is to live. Toastmaster Rashmi, I hope that when you said that you went on a solo trip to Bhutan, your mother wasn't outside the door and hearing you that. But kudos to you for going on a solo trip. I haven't ever had an opportunity to go on a solo trip, and you mentioned your experiences about the trip as well. But how did it actually add life to your life? That was the missing key for me. You traveled, that was fine. You named one of the instances, that was good. But how exactly did it add life? And when you're adding life, you have to bring in that drama. You have to bring in that emotion, which I believe was missing. So try to bring in that life in your traveling part, and then try to bring in those dramatics, some emotions that actually show that yeah, this was you know wonderful for you. This was a wonderful experience for you. So I think these few things could have made this topic a really good one. The next table topic was guest Rohit. You get ahead, you must to get ahead, you must get started. All right, the one who started dancing, guest Rohit, yeah. So guest Rohit, I must say that if you start, you might be a pappu right now. Apologies for using that dance. I use it in your table topic. You might be a pappu right now who cannot dance, but if you get started, you realize that ABCD anybody can dance. So I'm sure you had a wonderful take on the topic as well. You had a good introduction. You had a good story as well about how you wanted to dance when you came to the city. And then you actually said that if you want to get ahead in life, you have to get started with something. And I think you being a guest and staying completely on the topic and speaking for a good amount of time is the key takeaway from me or from your table topic. So keep on coming for the table topics, keep on delivering such fantastic topics with your good stories, and I hope that one day you become a KTM and deliver such table topics as a Toastmaster as well. Well, another speaker who didn't speak, and it was as okay. A smooth sea never makes a skilled sailor. That was guest Kostov. Guest Kostov, I know you're a guest. It is very tough for guests to participate in a table topic because it is not very easy. I remember my first time I went for a table topic, and it is so horrible that I don't want to mention it right now. So just keep on coming for these table topics again and again, and I'm sure that one day you will be confident enough to speak on the topic. You might speak wrong, but the mistakes that you make, you keep on learning from these mistakes. As the theme says, you might be imperfect right now, but every moment, every step towards perfection is building your character and making you a good version of yourself. So these were the table topic speakers. I will quickly evaluate the individual role players now, and then go to my role of players. Starting with the stand-in sergeant at arms, that was Toastmaster Sumit. And Toastmaster Sumit, you are a experienced sergeant at arms. You've been the sergeant at arms of the club before, and I must say the rules were stated wonderfully. You started at 7 sharp. You had a good take on the theme as well, which actually brought excitement in each and every one of us to be ready to hear something good from the Toastmaster of the day. And then the president's introduction was just fantastic. However, you have been a sergeant at arms before, and I had seen you doing certain things which I believe you could have done it today as well. That is, whenever you are the sergeant at arms, you're also the chairman of the welcoming committee. So before 7 p.m., it is your responsibility as a sergeant at arms to interact with guests and with other Toastmasters. Whereas I saw Toastmaster Gurpreet doing it, he can do it as well, but it is also your responsibility to make the guests and the other members feel welcome. So I think that was missing. And whenever we start a Toastmasters meeting, we start with a clap, right? A clap is not, it's not, it brings a lot of energy in the meeting. And a Toastmasters meeting is all about bringing in high energy in the meeting. So I think you got to start with a clap, but on a good role played by you. Next was the president, Toastmaster Mridula Sengupta, who did almost everything fantastic. The minutes of the meetings were passed. A great take on the theme, which also gave us a good message. Guest introduction, Toastmaster of the day introduction, everything was picture perfect, right? Just one thing that Toastmaster Mridula, there were two district officers in our meeting, that is Toastmaster Mayank and Toastmaster Deepak, and they weren't introduced in a meeting, which is also a norm of Toastmaster, that whenever there's a district officer, you gotta introduce them to all the participants, and that wasn't done. So you could work on that from your future president's address. The next was the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ushika, and it doesn't really feel that you took this role for the first time. And I'm going to start with something that I really liked about your role, which were the examples. The way you started with your role, with the connecting with the audience, with those pictures, and then the lead example towards the end, then the example of the Japanese vase, being stuck again with the gold, whatever that was. I think the examples were so good that even if I didn't know what the theme was, and I was just sitting there listening to your examples, I could know what the theme actually was. And you actually, the depiction of the examples were really good. It actually, the I am just falling, short of words about the good examples that you use, because generally when we have Toastmasters of the day, the example somewhat doesn't connect with the theme. But today it was on point and completely apt. So kudos to you for bringing such good examples and displaying it over here, which also had audience introduction as well, audience connection as well at the beginning. You explained the Toastmaster Day sessions. You brought the evaluators. You brought mentioning the mentors, the speech title. Everything was just perfect. And I think as a Toastmaster of the day, when you're advancing with the role, you have to be very calm and serene because you're conducting the meeting, and that is your responsibility that the meeting goes on very smooth. And I think never in your role I saw you panicking for even a second. So I think that was one great thing that you did today, that you were very calm and composed in the way you were conducting it. So kudos to you for doing it for the first time. And I'm sure that after this role, there are going to be many vice president educations who are approaching you for a Toastmaster their role very soon. I'm one of them. Well, the next role player was the first time table topic master, Toastmaster Brinda Rathi. And Toastmaster Brinda, it is great to see that someone who's into Toastmasters just since 4 or 5 months is taking up roles in different clubs as well. And it is good to see that topics that you used were absolutely amazing. And topics like the travel to live, get ahead, you must get started. The topics were really easy for people to speak on, and people could actually speak on it. And another very good thing that you had in your role was that you had something after every speaker. You had something to say after every speaker as well, which is a very good trait in a table topic master as well. So you did that really great. However, there are a few recommendations for you as well, starting with the rules that you forgot to state properly. You said that there was a grace period, but you didn't mention that it was only on the upper hand, right? You didn't say that the topics were about to get repeated only once. You know, then how you're going to introduce the topic, that is speaker, topic, topic, speaker. So you didn't mention that. Then the guests are also allowed to speak and also allowed to change the topic only once. And then, so these are the rules that went missing in your introduction of the table topic master, as well as you repeated topic more than once for two speakers, that is Toastmaster Pratyush and guest Munish, which is actually not allowed as per Toastmaster norms. So what you could have done is you could have used some other topic as well for them. So repeating more than once is not allowed. And you felt in a little hurry, right? When you're calling a speaker, you're immediately giving them the topic. Maybe that was the reason why someone couldn't listen to the topic properly. So take your time. You have the stage is all yours, and then take your time with your role, right? So that was it. That was it from my side. I will now call upon my role players for today. Just a second for their role reports, starting with the timer, that is Toastmaster Anirban Datta.
Yes, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Every speaker was on time today except for evaluator number 2, Achyut Todi. He took 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That is over even the grace period of time. And also in table topics, guest Kostov is will not be included in the voting because he did not speak at all. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anirban. Well, the next role player is the grammarian, played by Toastmaster Udisha Madnani.
Thank you, Sir General Evaluator. I will now present my report as a grammarian. I sat through the session like a quintessential attentive student and I enjoyed every minute of it. The word of the day was quintessential and it was used once by Toastmaster Oishika and twice each by Toastmaster Anirban and Toastmaster Gurpreet. Uh, the good usages were as follows. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. This was a very impactful usage of this phrase. And Toastmaster Anam used very strong vocabulary like senile, extremism, and fanatism. Now, coming to the not so good usages of vocabulary, there was a word that was used presentful. Now, though adding the suffix full is an acceptable rule in English, but when we use words like forgetful, it is correct, but presentful can be used as presentable instead. Another one was we can say we make mistakes instead of do mistakes. That is a better usage. And the train was late for 3 hours, could be the train was late by 3 hours. So these are just a few little things that I noticed. But all in all, it was a very tough job finding out the loopholes. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Udisha, for that wonderful report. The next role player was the R counter, which was played by Toastmaster Akash Patnaik. Toastmaster Akash, can you please have the role report?
Am I audible? Had a really tough time because I had to sit through everyone's speech and then analyze. I'm presenting my report by sharing my screen, so kindly take a look at it. Can anyone confirm if the screen is visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I start my report by presenting this. Toastmaster Oishika used a 4 times. Toastmaster Rahul used a 4 times and so once. Toastmaster Udisha used a 4 times. Toastmaster Achyut used a 5 times, well once long and one long pause. Toastmaster Brinda used a twice. Guest Abhishek used once one long pause and there was one repetition. Toastmaster Deepak used twice, well once, and one long pause. Guest Pratyush used many times. Toastmaster Rashmi used 5 times, like once, and guest Rohit used 5 times, so 4 times, and like 2 times. Toastmaster Mridula, Toastmaster Gurpreet, Toastmaster Naren, guest Munish, Toastmaster Anam, Toastmaster Sunit, and Toastmaster Anirban were flawless. With that, I come to the end of my report. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Akash, for wonderfully presenting that report. The next role player was the Vow Counter, which was played by Toastmaster Ritika Mazumdar. Can we please have the report, Toastmaster Ritika?
Yes, General Evaluator. So there were many wow moments in today's meeting, and if there was a golden buzzer situation that we had in Toastmasters, I would have surely pressed it for Toastmaster Oishika when she presented those 3 images to explain perfectly imperfect and followed by a poll. I loved it. So I think that was a great moment, and also explaining the Japanese art concept of wabi sabi using the image was pretty engaging. And second, I felt Toastmaster Anam's speech was also filled with many wow moments. What I would like to pick up was highlighting the hypocrisy or the pretentious attitude in feminism or people who believe such things is by giving an example that why man always has to be the breadwinner. I really liked the example, and also using the reference of the character Seema Auntie and explaining that how we women also end up having the same demands, in the matrimony site and complain that why man has so many demands. So I really liked that. And third, I would like to say that it was from Toastmaster Naren's speech that drawing the analogy from Vishen Lakhiani's 3 parts and mapping it on his whole Toastmaster journey. I think I really liked those moments. So thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ritika. The final role player was the parliamentarian, which was played by Toastmaster Meghna Agarwal. Can we please have the report, Toastmaster Meghna?
All the parliamentarian rules, all the parliamentary norms were followed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Meghna. Well, with that, I come to an end. I come to an end to the general evaluation section. I hope I was of some help to all the speakers. And with that, I hand it back to our standard president for today. That is Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh. Toastmaster Gurpreet, the podium is all yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause going for our general evaluator, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari. So at the end of this session, all that I can say is, yes, I might be imperfect, but I am perfect in some ways. Perhaps that is what Toastmaster Oishika has taught us over the span of 1.5 hours. I request the tech master to launch the polls. If it hasn't been launched yet, it has been. So ladies and gentlemen, the voting link is in the chat box. Please go in there and cast your vote so that we can motivate our speakers, our evaluators, and role players to win and then come back on stage again. And nobody's a loser at the end of the day. We are all winners. So as we vote, I would request some of the guests to just unmute themselves and give us their feedback. Any guest who would like to give his or her feedback, I would like to call Vedant. I see Vedant here for the first time. Guest Vedant, future Toastmaster Vedant. Would you like to share your feedback?
Yeah, it was quite fun. I mean, I think it would really help me to work on my soft skills if I take part in these events. And I think it was quite a learning experience for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Vedant, for coming, and we are expecting and hoping that you join us next week as well.
Yes,
Guest Manish. Guest Manish is also here for the first time. Guest Manish is joining us from Dunlop. Yes, Manish.
Yes, please.
Okay, we have guest Munish. Okay, we have a Manish and a Munish. And guest Munish has also been joining us since our lockdown days. Guest Munish, we absolutely love to hear your table topics, but we would also love to hear about your feedback about Kolkata Toastmasters Club.
you're absolutely right. At the time of COVID-19, when this Toastmaster went online, I became Toastmaster member at that time only. But I love to attend Toastmaster meeting in your club. I find you all energetic. Some of the member, I think they do not turn, I don't see, but still I enjoy. Every time I enjoy attending the Toastmaster meeting. You sometimes I miss because I have some work to do. But I would love to, if you allow me sometime, I would like to deliver a prepared speech also, please.
Okay, Munish ji, that's great. That's great to hear. You know, as a guest, we have seen you developing and improving. That's awesome. The other day we were having discussions, you know, guest Munish, he has actually improved leaps and bounds. Congratulations, guest Munish. Keep joining us. We love your presence. And we also have guest Manish with us. Guest Manish, if he's here. Guest Manish, would you like to tell us something about the meeting?
Hello.
Yes, Manish.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, Manish, you are.
Yeah, it's nice to. It's a nice meeting, and I enjoy this meeting.
Thank you so much, guest Manish. Manish, what do you do? Guest Manish, what do you do?
I'm preparing for the job that is a government job like banking, SSC. That's
great. That's great. We wish you all the best. Hope you crack one of these exams soon, and we would be expecting a treat from you at Calcutta Chamber of Commerce. Okay, with that.
Thank you so much.
Yes. With that, any other guest who would like to, share his or her feedback with us? Any other guest? We have guest Pratyush from a different club, English Samvad Club. Pratyush, can we have your feedback, please? Toastmaster Pratyush, I would say, not a guest.
Actually, I was also surprised. Everyone was telling me guest. So beware, I will take the advantage and change the topic. I will take the advantage and change the topic. So, Gurpreet Singh ne mera, poll, he opened my poll. In Hindi we say, he opened my poll. But yes, I'm a Toastmaster and Gurpreet Singh knows me very well. I actually joined because you sent me the link. Actually, it's been 3 weeks. I did not came here and table topics I need. I am very much passionate. I don't feel good when I do not speak table topics for some days. So thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you. We also call him Babu, Toastmaster Babu. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I will quickly move on to the results. But it seems we are having a slight delay. So if we could have, Toastmaster Achyut tell us something. I love the way he delivered the evaluation. Let's hear it for Toastmaster Achyut. Wonderful evaluation delivered. Toastmaster Achyut, please share a few words.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gurpreet. I think this is coming back because of my last week's request when I said why the meeting ended so early. But no, this is great to actually come back after quite an on and off time for me, and it's lovely to see the great improvement in quality from both guests and members. And I think, personally speaking, I've been on and off with the Toastmasters fraternity for quite a while, and I look at this as a challenge for me, because when a couple of months into or a couple of weeks into Toastmasters, the quality which I see in people, like, and I know this is not so, everyone has a relative measure, and I don't want to pull down anyone, but use the experience or the quality displayed by newcomers or people who aren't as who are just into the fray, and use that as a challenge to motivate myself, because I see people coming up with genuine good quality. And the reason I think this is also excellent at a personal level. This is not drawing comparisons between one versus the other. Simple increase in quality between how speaker one was in meeting one versus how the same speaker was 5 meetings later. I remember Munish ji has grown leaps and bounds. At this point, I think he's pretty much a Toastmaster regular, KTM regular. And also, I think Toastmaster Anams was one of the early new members, and now looking at her commanding the stage with her speech today was jaw dropping for me. So this is great. And this is encouraging me to come back and challenge myself better. So I love this inclusive growth, which this new version of KTM has taken on in the lockdown.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut. You always inspire us with your kind words, and you have actually motivated us in a way. And with that, before I announce the results, let's unmute ourselves and have, give a big round of applause, a huge round of applause to all the role players for delivering their best today. I think let's just unmute ourselves. Amazing performances. Congratulations to one and all for putting up a great show this evening. Now, moving on quickly to the results. The best auxiliary role player for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, a new member, but has indeed made his mark. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for guest Akash Patnaik. I'm used to calling him guest, but he is now a Toastmaster. Toastmaster Akash Patnaik as the best auxiliary role player this evening.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Toastmaster Akash. Now, the best role player for this evening, it's among the Toastmaster of the day, the table topic master, and of course, the general evaluator. And it would be wrong to say that this person is a new member, because this person does not behave like one. This person behaves like this person is quite experienced, and this person just does not behave. This person is matured, talented, extremely talented, ladies and gentlemen, who is imperfectly perfect. The Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Oishika. Congratulations.
For a second, I thought you were telling me that I don't behave. Like, suddenly I was like, what did I do?
Okay, congratulations, Toastmaster Oishika. Moving on to the best table topic speaker. Any guesses? Best table topic speaker? Except
Manish
Toastmaster. Manish Gupta, somebody says. Okay. Is it any other guess? It is a guest.
Guest Abhishek?
A guest Abhishek. It is the best table topic speaker for this evening. Congratulations, guest Abhishek.
Thank you.
Moving on, we're not having the best evaluator today. We have the most improved speaker. And guess what? Who it is? Guess what? Who it is? It is again a guest, ladies and gentlemen. The man from Jammu, guest Manish Gupta. Let's hear it. Congratulations, guest Manish. The most improved speaker. And finally, the best speaker this evening. Let's have a guess, a quick guess in the chat box, maybe, or you could just unmute and tell me the best speaker for this evening. Toastmaster Babu says Anam. Abhishek Mohata says Anam. It's all Anam and Anam and Anam. And ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed Toastmaster Anam. Congratulations on being the best speaker this evening. Wonderfully done. Congratulations once again to all the role players. Congratulations and a big thank you to all those who attended this meeting. We are having the area contest this Sunday from 9:45 a.m. We will circulate the link. Do join us for this amazing contest that we are having, the international speech contest, the table topics, and of course the evaluation contest this Sunday. I remind you, right from 9:45 a.m. And the fact that I am hampering on the time is because I am participating. Be there to support me. And ladies and gentlemen, hope to see you again next Friday from 7 p.m. right here on Zoom. Till then, good night. Take care.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Nared.
Bro, kill it. All the best.
Thank you, bro. You were amazing today.
Thank you.
You too, Toastmaster Anam, Toastmaster Oishika, everyone, Toastmaster Rahul. Great job, guys. And see you again.
All the best, Gurpreet. I'm
All
so
the
sorry.
best.
Thank you so much.
I'm
Thank you so much, everyone.
All the best, Toastmaster Gurpreet.
I'm interrupting people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Toastmaster Achyut, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone. Good night.
Congratulations. Superb speech, dude. Great job. Great job. Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Akash was so innovative. Like, he had an Excel sheet pulled up, right?
Yes.
Good stuff. Awesome.
I took it from the website actually.
Oh,
Bro, it looked like Akash had all of his engineering skills back on track.
Correct.
Always has like such like unique topics. Like when she asked me the question, I was like, wow, this is such a unique like theme that she's come up with. Even when she asked me the question, Varshika is she's so innovative, dude. Like every time she's here in the meeting, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Chala, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a
Gurpreet,
nice
quick
weekend.
note. Gurpreet, I'm sorry for taking away your best evaluator prize last week and this week by exceeding the time on both occasions.
No worries.
But, yeah.
No worries at all.
But it's okay. I'm getting Gurpreet back to the ground. He has like a contest coming up, no? So he has to like not win awards here.
Let's have Anam arrange 3 speeches from now on, so that if any one evaluator like
whenever Achyut is evaluating, you have to have another
Yeah.
evaluator. Then
Okay. Great, guys. Chalo, good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Good night.
Hey, good night.
Good night.